Hello everybody and welcome to this week's Markets to Watch from Smack the Markets for week commencing the 14th of October. So this week we start off with, for the markets to actually digest a number of key changes to some of the concerns that have been weighing on these markets for some time. We've got a progression with the UK and EU Brexit negotiations. So those negotiations now have been agreed to be able to move to the next level. So that's a positive for the markets, but on the negative side, we've got an escalation over the weekend of the Turkey and Syrian sort of conflict. So that's having a negative impact on markets, with traders being quite concerned over how that is progressing. But then on the positive side again, we have some positive news on the US and China trade front. So there was a preliminary or temporary trade pact that was put in place late on Friday night, and that's having a bit of a positive impact at the moment on the markets. So a number of key changes there, those big concerns that have been weighing on a number of markets for some time. So let's take a look at a few markets here that we're keeping a close eye on in the trading room at the start of this week. So if we come and have a look at the Dow first of all, this is the Dow Futures contract. We can see that the market is right up against some very sort of key levels. So from a trend perspective, they're not sort of particularly wonderful on these higher time frames, as indeed not a lot of markets are at the moment with the sort of choppy price action. But we can see that the market is right up now. It's had a good run to the end of last week. It had a good strong move, closing up here around the 26,800 level. Now 26,800, if you've been subscribing to our commentaries for some time, you'll know has been quite a key level on this market, and price is just around there at the moment. It's just sort of dipped underneath it at this moment in time. But if we take a look at this here on the right up onto the sort of weekly chart, we can see it's quite a specific sort of price point here on the weekly, right the way down to sort of lower time frames as well. So coming down to the 4-hour time frame, we can see that we've got a couple of key price points around here. So 26 sort of 800, underneath there we got 26 sort of 700. Short side underneath here, we're back down to 26 500, and that's another key decision point as well for this market. But going above price, above the 26 800, we got 27,000, and then pushing up towards those sort of all-time highs again. So I think that where the market is at the moment, it really is a testing point as to whether the trade optimism can continue and whether we're going to sort of see continuation through into the remainder of or into the first half of this week. So 26 800, if the market can break above here, then we're certainly going to be looking at 27,000 next on the cards. So we'll be looking at opportunities up towards these sort of next structure levels. If 26 sort of 800 can't hold, I think certainly if the market gets underneath 26 700, then we'll certainly be looking at intraday opportunities for a retracement and a retest down here towards that 26 sort of 500 level. Either way, whichever way this market sort of goes, there is quite a sizable sort of trading windows either way. So quite an interesting sort of point where price is at the moment. So if we come and have a look at the commodities now, commodities by and large, certainly the precious metals are looking sort of rather sideways. I think gold here looking a little bit more interesting compared to some of the others. And the reason being here is that the market is rather close here to a very key level at sort of 1.490. So this has been a strong price point here for this market. You can see that here on the sort of daily time frame if I open that up. So you can see this 1.490. It's just underneath that 1.5, which is again is another very sort of strong price point. But the market was unable to hold above 1.5, and now it's sort of slipped down to the lower level. If the optimism can continue this week, we might see a continuation of the strength in US index markets. If we see a strength in index markets, that may well sort of help the sort of risk on approach, which may well sort of see the gold sort of slip off again as money comes out of sort of safe havens. And if that does, then we can see perhaps a move down here towards that sort of 1.460 sort of price point, which is the next decision level that we can see here in price action. And that sort of distance, of course, is quite it's quite a big sort of trading window there. Now, if we come to currency markets, one that is certainly of interest for us at the moment here on the currency side is US dollar against the Singapore. So if we take a look at this on the weekly chart, you can see that we've had a bit of a reversing trend here now on the weekly. So we've got a lower high and a lower low on the weekly chart. The market's up against quite a key decision point area here, where the market's been found key support and key resistance many times before, and that's around that 137,000 level. Underneath that, we've got a sort of a nice trading window with not a lot of support and resistance in the way down to 136, and you can see 136 has been very sort of key, much stronger key support and resistance where the market's tested multiple times before. So coming down to the lower time frames, you can see on the daily, we can see the size and the sort of context of this distance from 137 down to 136. Sort of quite a decent size sort of trading window there. Of course, we're already in short trends on all these time frames now from the weekly below. And even down here onto the sort of 4-hour time frame, we've got quite a well-structured short trend forming with clear lower highs, lower lows, moving average geometry as well. So again, continuation to the short side, continuation for this market to push underneath so 137. We'll be certainly looking at opportunities down towards that 136 price point in the early part of this week. So there's a few markets there that we're keeping a close eye on at the start of this week. I certainly hope it helps and look forward to speaking to you next time. Bye for now.